Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Once More with Feelings. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Beth. And this is an emotional journey podcast where we go over movies and media, including music, and we delve into how we feel about things.
This week, we watched While You Were Sleeping, the 1995 John Turteltaub as director movie. This starred Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman, Peter Gallagher, Peter Boyle, and Jack Warden.
It's a family affair because the entire family is basically the cast.
Yes, the Callahan family.
This movie does have an IMDb. I guess this is becoming a thing for our podcast now.
Yeah, I kind of rely on you to pull up the IMDb's.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up again and you're going to be saddened by it yet again. I don't know who's writing these, but I've seen some fantastic ones on IMDb.
Yeah.
This one is not a fantastic one.
That's sad.
But it is to the point. A hopelessly romantic Chicago Transit Authority ticket booth operator is mistaken for the fiancé of a comatose patient.
Okay, that doesn't even tell you about the movie. I mean, her title had more substance than the description of the movie.
The title is overly wrought. It is...
I mean, she's a CTA worker.
I almost wish AI had written this.
She took tokens in a booth.
They killed my spirit.
They kind of... that is just sad. There was...
So, that is the IMDb. I'm going to explain what I think the movie is. It is probably my favorite sad Christmas movie. It's not the substance of the movie that's sad. I spent many years without you directly in my life. I watched this many times. And every Christmas, I would bring it back out again because it reminded me of you.
Aw.
Because you are my Lucy. I am not your Jack. I'm your Jackie. Jackie?
I was going to say, what?
I'm your Jackie. She reminds me, the character, not Sandra Bullock herself, but her character. And yeah, she looks a lot like you in some ways.
I wish I looked like Sandra Bullock.
To me, you look better than Sandra Bullock.
Well.
But you mean a lot to me. This movie meant a lot to me because it so reminded me of you. Mm-hmm. And it was a quirky romantic comedy. And it was one of my favorite things to watch and kind of like, I know I do this every time. I cry to it. Because
I got sad too. The scene when she's,
yes,
confessing, it's emotional, because you understand where she's coming from.
If you know loneliness, if you understand what it means to be lonely, and you can be lonely when you're surrounded by others.
Oh, yeah.
So when I say lonely, I mean that true deep loneliness that kind of resides within you. If you're that kind of person, you'll get this movie so easily.
Yes.
And it'll mean something to you, I believe. So that's my definition of the movie. And granted, it's not as succinct and it doesn't tell you anything about the movie other than the feelings of it. But that's kind of how I go. So
I would say that this is a reverse Sleeping Beauty.
It is, isn't it?
It's a reverse Sleeping Beauty with a twist. Like as if Prince Charming, what was his name in the Disney movie? It was not Prince Eric. That's Little Mermaid.
I could not tell you. Lucius?
No. I used to know all the princes' names. Prince Charming is Snow White, but I used to know all of them. I can't think of the one from Sleeping Beauty, but if y'all know at home, please let us know. It's like he is the one who falls asleep. Sandra Bullock is not sleep. Well, she is Sleeping Beauty, but obviously she's not the one sleeping.
Woken Beauty.
She's the princess, and
she's awake beauty.
He's the sleeping handsome, and he has a brother, and he never met. But see, he's never met her.
There are elements to it,
Yes. So the basic idea of this movie is Sandra Bullock plays Lucy, who is a CTA worker in Chicago, and she sees this man get on a subway train every single day. And she, in her head, has built up this, and I'm going to marry him. He's awesome. He's perfect. It's just that, that infatuation from afar. And one day he gets pushed onto the tracks. She happens to be the person to save him. She ends up in the hospital with the family and with Peter.
Right.
They are all like beside themselves. She's kind of beside herself, and a nurse overhears her talking to herself, and she says, "That's my future husband." And of course, that's where the
she says,
I was going to marry him.
In her head,
In
she
her
was
head,
going
she
to
was,
marry
yeah.
him.
And so, and she said it out loud. And so, hijinks ensue. And the whole family begins, because the nurse, they think that she's actually his fiance. He's in a coma. And all of a sudden, his other brother shows up. His brother shows up, Jack.
Well, he shows up later.
He shows up later, yeah. So the family kind of takes her in. They are smitten with her. They're like, "You are so unlike things."
Not only is she supposedly his fiance, but they find out through the cop who is there to take the information
that she saved him.
That she saved his life by jumping onto the tracks in front of the train.
And stopping the train.
Pulling him off the tracks.
Well, yeah. Because she does say, like, later on, I would jump in front of a train, So the family loves her. They immediately, take her. I mean, well, they have to prove. She has to prove. They kind of want her to prove that she's his fiance. Now, the one thing I like about Lucy is Lucy's observant and she listens to everybody around her. She really does listen. And
without guile.
Yeah. So at one point she encounters Peter's coworker. He makes a comment about how this is because of the injury.
The accident.
And the accident. Yes. And apparently they'd been playing basketball.
Right.
And the coworker had a pencil in his pocket. And so Peter only has one testicle. And Lucy knows this now.
I'm assuming the pencil has an extra one now.
Ew. So Lucy uses that information to prove to the family that she really is his fiance, because now she's kind of invested in this and she doesn't want to hurt these people. She's not thinking at this point. She knows she's getting deeper and deeper, but I don't think she really has the full intention to hurt them.
She's trying to prove it to Jack. The family's accepting.
Yeah.
Jack is the one who is immediately skeptical.
Oh, yeah, because he's like, this is nothing like anything my brother, would have dated in the past.
Well, he doesn't. He suspects it because Lucy's at the family's house.
Yes. When
for the Christmas that they didn't get to have because Peter hurt himself and was in a coma. So they invite her over, and she does come over. And Saul,
who's the family friend, the Callahan's family friend,
who is also the godfather of Peter, hears her telling comatose Peter that she wishes, they had met, and she's very sorry about what's happened. So Saul knows.
Yeah.
But he also likes Lucy.
He does.
He has a good sense
Lucy's
of people.
likable. She's just a
and
likable
the family's
person.
likable. The family's
really
lovable.
Are. I love the grandmother, Elsie.
I
love her.
They're all lovable, but they're lovable in a realistic way.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they still banter, they still argue. They're still a family who goes through their trials and everything else. And yes, they're, the white suburban, but they're very nice.
Yeah.
And Lucy's very nice, and she fits into this little world, but she just doesn't know how to. Yeah. She doesn't know how to exist within it because she's there under this pretense that she's the fiance.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to break their hearts.
That was supported by Saul, by the way.
Yes.
He kind of egged her to not say anything because of Elsie's heart condition.
Yes. And Elsie, what's really funny is the line that Elsie says is, "I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any less either." So the funny thing about that line is that that is the exact line that Jack Warden said in an episode of Bewitched in
Oh my
1964.
That's
So
so
that's why
good.
that line was so funny to me. Yeah, and I actually kind of like that. I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any less either.
That is funny. So a note that I had written, because we take notes as we're watching these movies or rewatching them, I found it very hard to continue writing notes because I'm heavily invested in this film.
Yes.
I'm invested in the premise. I'm invested in the characters. I'm invested in my own headcanon.
Yeah.
One of the notes that I took was about the family. When they're talking to her, you see almost immediately they accept her.
Yes.
Is that they are so ready to love her.
Oh, they are. They're so looking forward to having this person in their family. I think they've been waiting for both of those boys to commit to somebody, and they're ready for it.
Right. Before we meet Jack, of course, we're not going to go blow by blow into this because, first of all, I'll start crying, and second of all, which won't be productive at all.
No.
And then two, we're not doing this to review it. We're not doing this to go over all the minutia of the film. This isn't an overly complicated film.
No, not at all.
Unless you count it as an emotional thing.
Yes.
And emotionally, it's, I think, very layered.
It is.
And so if you go beyond the writing and go into the emotions of the film, you're going to see a lot more to the movie than you would initially expect. This is a rom-com, but to call it a rom-com kind of boils it down to the bare essentials of what a rom-com is.
Yeah.
Without seeing the structures that lie underneath. And I'm not saying the writers did this intentionally. I'm saying the actors portrayed this. It's really owed to the actors who brought these out.
Well, these are big league actors that have gone on to amazing careers
Or
beyond that.
Or
before
had them
them.
before they ever had the
So
film.
even if you gave them a basic script, these are people who know how to put a life into a character because they have that background and they have that ability and that training. Really quick, I would like to talk about the actors themselves. What's your favorite? Is this your favorite Sandra Bullock movie?
That is a very hard question because I do like a couple. This is my favorite Sandra Bullock movie if Sandra Bullock was playing you.
Okay.
But for other characters of hers, I love Miss Congeniality.
I have Miss Congeniality on here. That is one of my favorites.
And The Proposal is like my second favorite film of hers, with Miss Congeniality coming up third.
I am and forever will be a Practical Magic fan because Practical Magic, that is my heart.
It's fourth for me only because it gets dark in some places. And the song, it hits my autistic brain a little bit too.
The crystalline, the Stevie Nicks one?
No, the coconut.
The lime and the coconut song.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a bit.
It actually makes me feel like I'm
You're supposed to.
going to get sick.
But you're supposed to. That's the
I'm
whole
not
point of it.
saying that you're not supposed to. I'm saying it makes me feel that way.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel horrible, which makes me relate that
I remember,
onto the film.
and I know we're not reviewing, or not reviewing, but
Not going over Practical Magic, yes.
yeah, I know we're not going over Practical Magic, but that scene always made me uncomfortable when they start being mean to each other. That's when you start going, something's wrong. But okay, we can do Practical Magic another day.
Right. Maybe next Halloween.
Maybe. My other favorite is 28 Days. It's not.
That is.
It's a heartbreaking movie.
That
But that is one of my
favorite
Sandra Bullock movies.
Oddly enough, it's not my favorite Sandra Bullock
It's your
movie.
favorite Alan Tudyk
It
movie.
is. It's my favorite Alan Tudyk movie. And Sandra Bullock's in it.
And Sandra Bullock is in it.
Because he is so
So
adorable. I
sweet.
love him so much. And I want him to have the plant and the dog.
I know.
And you just want to help him.
I know.
Because he deserves
He
it.
does.
And Sandra finds a way to, her character finds a way to stand on her own, which is great. I do love that movie. we definitely will go over that at some point because there are so many people in it.
Oh, yes.
Viggo Mortensen. What the hell? Out of nowhere, I'm just like,
Nowhere, Vigo.
What? Yeah.
It's Vigo.
It's Viggo.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm going to tell you a character
Okay.
because it's actually... it's quietly my favorite character out of the family.
Okay, but wait a minute. I have a quiz for you later in the episode.
Okay.
I'm so excited because I know this is one of your favorite movies, so I do have a small quiz for you.
Okay.
Okay, but okay, in the family,
the sister,
Mary.
Mm-hmm. I love her.
She's very sweet.
She's sweet. She doesn't have that, like protective vibe,
and she doesn't have the teenage angst. My God, was she a late in life oops baby?
But I think she was just really she was so ready to accept Lucy into the family as her sister. I think she was just very happy about that.
And well, I mean, think about it. If Peter is supposed to be about 35 and Jack is supposed to be a couple years younger than him, and then here's Mary, she's 15. That's an oops and a half baby.
Probably, yeah, it's a little bit. But the actress, Monica Keena, she is 45 right now.
What?
I know. Does that not...
That doesn't even compute in my brain.
That is upsetting. She wasn't much younger than us. I actually think she's she's not that much younger than us in the first place.
Okay, favorite Bill Pullman movie? I know what you're going to say.
It's going to be Lake Placid.
Yep, it's literally my first on the list, Lake Placid.
I don't want to say Lake Placid.
I know.
Because it shouldn't be my favorite movie.
I know.
But yes, that's my favorite.
Also have Independence Day on here because why not? You got to give the man props for being probably...
It's the greatest speech.
Yeah. And that, I mean, we haven't had a president since him that was that great. Since the invasion.
True enough. Since the invasion, yes.
Honestly, though, but unfortunately, poor Mr. Pullman will always have a dark mark in my eyes for being Oswald Dane.
From
Torchwood.
No.
Well, we don't acknowledge the end of season of that.
I'm sorry, but I don't go beyond
season 3
when she cheated on Reese.
Well, then that's the whole freaking series.
I know. I said what I said.
I don't go beyond.
Reese deserved better, is what I'm saying.
I don't go beyond Ianto's death because in my head he'd never died.
Okay, so we're getting on to Torchwood now.
Yes.
Which
okay.
Is the problem.
Now I have a lot of weird little things that go back to our movie from last time.
All right.
Bill Pullman and Dennis Quaid were both in what movie?
I'm not sure. Let me think here. Dennis Quaid, Bill Pullman. I don't know.
Wyatt Earp.
They were in Wyatt Earp? Oh, that version of Wyatt Earp. I'm sorry, there are several versions?
Yep.
That is an outlier. That is not one that I have actually seen that much of. I've seen it once.
Yeah. Okay. Peter Gallagher. I know what I'm going to say my favorite. It's not movie, but role. What is your favorite?
It's the same one. You know what it is.
Schmidt's dad.
Yes.
from New Girl. Yep. He is
Although
Schmidt's
I have
dad.
to say a close second as far as TV shows are concerned is when he plays the father in that show where she sang. She could sing.
Oh, and he's playing what was that name of that show?
I can't remember. So we don't know what the name is, and we don't have our phones with us, so we're not going to be looking that up.
We were trying to not distract ourselves. Little did we know.
He plays the father. He has...
I'm not sure what disorder it is.
Well, he has a disease.
It's
to where he can't speak. It's degenerative. It may be MS, but I think it's actually different.
Yeah, and Mary Steenburgen is the mom in that one.
Right, and
the girl she got hit in the head, right? And she hears people singing all the time, and they're not really singing.
She can kind of read their minds or their emotions through song, and she's able to communicate with him through song.
Yeah.
Now, the way the world works is that you have to pay royalties.
Yes.
And you have to pay money for each song that you use. So they ended up delving a lot into the lower end of things, trying to make it work. But I think if we had maybe less capitalism that show really would have been great.
I think so. I think if they could have had Glee money, then they would have done really good.
They had great characters.
Oh my God. And and singers and actors. Now, the only one who I have to say could not really sing was Lauren Graham. She's not a singer.
That's true.
But yes, so
we just got off on another tangent.
Oh, trust me, we've got a few here. So let's go one more with our friend from our movie from last episode.
Okay.
Okay. You remember Buddy Robinson?
Yes.
So I told you he was a voice actor. And one of the shows, it's a kid's show, he did a voice for was The Owl House. And I know this because my students like The Owl House.
I don't know this at all. I'm supposing there's a house in which owls reside.
No. But Peter
unfair.
Gallagher did a voice for The Owl House.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty cool. Because I was seeing so many connections to Enemy Mine actors that I just thought that was pretty neat to keep throwing that in there. Okay, next actor. Peter Boyle. What movie do you think of?
I don't have a movie in particular I think of for Peter Boyle.
Young Frankenstein?
That's not the first thing I would go to.
You don't think of Young Frankenstein?
He's been in a lot of stuff.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
So I don't, but never as like the main character that I can think of.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed with Peter Boyle. Again, he did a lot of TV shows. Everyone Loves Raymond. He was the dad.
That's where I know him from as like a very outright character. A lot of his characters tend to be support cast.
Yes. He was, and this is obscure, but y'all have to bear with me. I am a huge Pink Floyd fan, and on top of that, I love Roger Waters. And Roger Waters did an album that had, and honestly, I'm brain dead right now because all I keep thinking of is Radio Chaos and not the album which came after that, which had Three Wishes on it. Three Wishes, they actually made a video, and Peter Boyle was the genie in that video, which is always weird to me to see him even in that role in a video, but that's such a good song too, y'all. Jack Warden, so huge, 165 acting.
Yeah, he's one of those people that's literally like an Alice Drummond's of...
Oh my God, TV and movies.
Been in everything.
What is your favorite Jack Warden movie?
Again, I don't know that I have a favorite of his.
Okay, well, he was on the show Crazy Like a Fox.
Yeah, but that's not a movie.
No, he was in the classic 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, but John Lemon took the stage there, so...
But my favorite, Toys, with Robin Williams.
Again, Robin Williams took the stage there.
I don't care. No, because he was the bad guy. He was the...
He wasn't bad guy.
He was LL Cool J's dad.
Okay.
Okay, that movie was awesome too.
But Robin Williams, again,
I know it was
takes all the spotlight.
I know,
so.
but still. But Peter Boyle and Jack Warden were both in Beyond the Poseidon Adventure. Bill Pullman and Peter Gallagher were in Malice.
Yes.
Oh, God, my notes are a mess today.
No, it's okay.
I have things in the margins. I'm a mess.
We had to back up a little bit because we saw the mistake.
Oh, yeah. And again, this movie, I remember when I first saw it, I mean, 95? Shoot. I was not living the high life in 95. I was dealing with a lot. So even though I was married at the time, not to Beth, to someone else, I would watch this movie and go and think to myself, well, where's my fairy tale? So, yeah. It was that...
You were married to my friend.
Yes.
We were all friends in California.
Yeah. And it was like, to me, you know, I love Sandra Bullock. And I always thought, you know, like watching that movie, it was just like to be her in that film. It meant something to me. Like, I don't know. I just always related to her loneliness and how she just wanted to make them happy. She didn't want to hurt them. And I could see that. I could see that's the problem, is I could do the same thing. Maybe not the lying, the initial lying, but once I was in the lie and I couldn't get out of it, especially having somebody like Saul over my shoulder going,
Well, but she did.
okay.
Here's the thing is, the way it is set up in the movie is she doesn't actually do a lot of lying except omission.
That's true.
And the only reason she omits is because Saul persuaded her
Oh, yeah.
through, he says, fear of her, of Eileen,
Of Elsie.
Elsie, sorry, having a heart attack,
Mm-hmm.
which we learn later is not something that was going to be an issue because
No.
she's obviously strong enough to deal.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
So Saul was playing the long game here because he liked Lucy and he wanted her in the family.
He did.
I get what you're saying. For me, this wasn't about taking the place of the character. I wasn't like putting myself in her place only.
Yeah.
I saw you in that character, and that's what made me feel about this movie. But also, as a woman, I wanted to be that girl. I wanted to be there because, not about the loneliness, because I already felt that. You already feel the loneliness. A lot of us do.
Yeah.
It's about completion of a cycle. So with Lucy, she had family. She lost family.
That's true.
And then because her father died, her mother died early in her childhood. Mm-hmm. And then her father died
The year prior.
a year prior to this movie taking place. So we can presume 1994. She's been lonely this whole time and she's still grieving.
Mm-hmm.
Her grief is kind of internalized. It's not displayed outwardly,
Yes.
but it does manifest itself in loneliness and in isolation. Even though she has friends, she keeps them kind of at a distance.
I mean, work friends, within reason, because I do think
Well, she's not hanging out with them. She goes home to her cat.
yeah, I mean, she does, she did.
She goes to a party, but even introverts go to parties.
And wasn't she hanging out with, God, I can't think of his
The
name now.
boss?
The boss. Yeah, she was hanging out with him in the park. They were playing chess, weren't they? Or checkers or something?
Jerry,
Jerry, yeah, I couldn't think of his name.
she was there because he wanted to talk to her about taking over the Christmas shift.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because she has no family, and that's
She-
a shitty thing to say.
Yeah, that is.
Actually, it kind of pressed upon her that she is alone.
Yes.
Which kind of helped her continue the lie.
Yes.
Because she was feeling that kind of pressure as well. I can see where you would want the thing to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not entirely true, maybe it'll work out. And sometimes you just play things out to see how they go. Not maliciously, but in that kind of way that people wish things were better.
And I mean, and even then, she didn't know she was going to meet Jack at the time. She was willing to try this and be like, well,
The first time she meets Jack is because she spends the night over at the family's house.
Yes.
And he shows up, he doesn't live there, but he does spend the night there on Christmas.
Yes.
Their extended Christmas. She tries to sneak out in the morning because she has to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack is sitting on the stairs.
Yes.
And he was immediately suspicious because he just didn't think that Peter was the type to marry anyone, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sense I got from it.
Yeah, because Peter is arrogant, and you find that more once he wakes up from his coma, how arrogant he is.
I think there's arrogance, but mostly it's that man boy kind of arrogance.
I mean, but he does things to then make himself look good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So definitely.
There's a self-centeredness
Yeah.
about his act, or yeah.
Definitely. So you know why it took place at Christmas time? They actually weren't intending for it to be at Christmas time.
Oh really?
It was because the studio said it would sell.
Well, it does.
And it does.
It does sell.
It does sell. And if you haven't noticed, we did this as a Christmas episode for the holidays.
Yeah, so Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas, everyone. So I have my... wait. Before I get into my random facts, you know who we're not talking about?
Marlo Thomas.
Marlo Thomas.
You just asked me to guess. I just guessed the name.
Okay. Joey Jr. Joey Jr.
Joey Bag of Donuts again?
Joey Jr. is played by Michael Rispoli, and I swear to God, I went to school with a Rispoli. I know they're not related, obviously, but I did go to high school with a Rispoli.
You're from around that area.
I'm from around that area, which is so
Not
funny.
Chicago.
Not Chicago. So that's one of my notes, is that no Chicago accents were heard, except for Michael Rispoli, who sounded like he was from Jersey. So that's why I was joking with Beth earlier, and I said that I was going to do this whole episode with my Jersey accent, which is probably thick anyway, because listening to anybody with a Jersey accent kind of makes mine show up a
I
little.
think it kind of gets drowned out by my Southern accent, so I think you're fine.
Twang, twang. And I do say y'all, so.
And I do not. I say you all.
It's from working with kids, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's just I say y'all a lot. It's easier to say y'all.
You work with Southern kids. It makes sense.
I do work with Southern kids.
You're using their dialect.
I do. Let me check my notes here. Okay.
She's going to check her notes now.
Sorry.
Her notes are written down.
They are.
On paper.
On paper.
Like fancy people.
Like a heathen. So Jerry was played by Jason Bernard. That man also had a lot of acting roles. He died, unfortunately, quite young at 58. And he did like one episode here, one episode there. When I'm looking through his IMDb, it was literally 65 things and like all with like one episode apiece.
Like a day actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he did do from 1991 to 1994, and this is going to be a huge kick in the throwback machine here, Herman's Head.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I know. I'm not saying he didn't do more than one episode, but most of his things said one episode. But he did like 70-something episodes of Herman's Head.
But most actors exist that way.
And then we have Miss Bacon, the actual fiancé of sorts. So throughout the whole entire movie, most of the movie, the family has this disdain for, and what was her name again? Because I'm really bad about writing the character names. Something Bacon.
Something Bacon.
Her last name is Bacon, and they said,
I remember the first name is Ashley.
Ashley, that's it. So it's Ashley Bacon. Ashley
but
something
there's
Bacon.
A third name, which makes it pretentious.
Yes, and she's played by Ally Walker. So she's mentioned. You hear her voice on the answering machine, and
accepting the proposal that apparently Peter had made to her, then she fled.
Yeah, so she fled
to Portugal, right?
And then phones him in, and on his answering machine leaves her, okay, I'll do it.
Why not?
Why not?
It must be love.
So Miss Bacon, like I said, is played by Ally Walker. And some of you out there might know that she is known for Longmire and Sons of Anarchy.
And I watched Longmire because I'm an older person, and that's what we do. But I did like it. I enjoyed Longmire, and yes, she was on it. I can confirm.
So, let's go back to Schmidt just for a hot second, okay?
Schmitty?
Mr. Schmidt. Winston Schmidt.
Schmidt Sr.?
Schmidt Sr. and Schmidt Jr. Why do they look more like... they look like father and son. I looked at a picture of them just because...
Oh, yeah.
So Schmidt and his dad look a lot alike, except Bill Pullman.
And we're talking about from the characters
from New Girl.
New Girl.
But
it's the eyebrows.
It's the eyebrows. It really is the eyebrows. Oh God, I want those eyebrows. I'm unfortunately I am a victim of the 90s, and I have very few eyebrows left.
Well, but he has them insured, so if you steal them, he can get new ones.
He has eyebrows to spare. He and Bill Pullman, they don't look like they were related even through cousins. They don't look anything alike.
This is true.
So that was like a thing that kind of stuck out.
But I think that was supposed to really, I can say that casting did this, unintentionally.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps a poor casting choice, but honestly, I think it was just about Jack and Lucy.
Yes, I think everybody else is kind of ancillary.
Yes.
Do you know how many...
Or really tertiary.
Do you know how...
Because the family is a secondary character.
It really is, though. No, it totally is.
As a unit, the family is like one of the third most important character in the entire film.
They really are. Do you know how many actors and actresses were...
Die of pulmonary heart disease?
Okay, do you know how many actors and actresses had either auditioned or had the role, was
for Lucy?
Yeah, of Lucy and Jack.
Lucy and Jack. This is 1995. Who produced it?
I didn't write that down.
Okay. I'm going to say at least 40 for Jack and maybe 200 for Lucy.
Well, see, I didn't write down all of those names. So the role was written for Demi Moore.
She was, yeah, I can see that because she was very active at the time.
Yes.
But that would have been a departure for her to, not to do a romantic, because she's done a comedy.
Yes.
But a romantic comedy, a little bit different. I understand that she did one with John Cusack. Mm-hmm. It, I guess, can be considered a romantic comedy, but let's face it, it was really just about the boys being crazy.
Yeah.
It really wasn't about the relationship.
No, it really wasn't.
Which is a departure for him.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. I can definitely see Demi Moore probably doing a good job in this, but not having the gravity that it required for Lucy.
Well, for her Jack, they wanted Patrick Swayze. Yeah, I know that. I
don't. So they wanted her to just have sex with him on the stairs?
No. I guess they got their wish later on.
Bill Pullman is endearing.
Yes.
He's
intense.
He is pretty. He is intense. He has everything you want in a man because you feel like if you were hugging him, you could smell his soul. But he is not the man you jump immediately upon seeing him.
No, that's Patrick Swayze.
Is too much. That is, you just threw Chippendales at Lucy for no reason. That's just rude.
That is rude. Well, Nicole Kidman, Jamie Gertz, and Julia Roberts also auditioned for this role.
Okay, so I might have oversold how many people.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there were probably others, and I just got tired of writing them down.
These are all popular actresses at the time.
Oh, yes.
And I'm pretty sure, I think Sandra Bullock was probably not a A-list anything at the time. She was probably very low on the hierarchy.
Yeah, I mean, 90.
I think she only did Speed at the time.
No, she had a few movies before that. I didn't really think about that.
Before 95?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Probably wasn't that many.
On the male side, Matthew McConaughey was considered, but his accent, they couldn't get past the Texas accent.
I mean, yeah. I as a person with an accent that you can't really get past, I can confirm.
I did forget Gina Davis. I forgot about that.
Gina's too intense. She's too statuesque, and
I do think Jamie Gertz could have pulled it off.
Yes.
I do love Jamie Gertz.
But I think Gina is too sure of herself.
Yeah.
I don't think that would come through.
And I think even Julia Roberts would have been too intense for it because she can do the dorky, silly girl, but it's not in the same flavor that I feel like Sandra Bullock can do it.
She can do it if you're going to Estee Lauder. But we're talking about Lucy, who probably buys most of her stuff from a thrift store.
I mean, she was wearing her dead father's jacket, and she looked like Ali Sheedy in Breakfast Club.
She looked like you in 1993.
Oh, my God. I did have a long black coat when I was in...
Yes.
That was in 91.
Well, yeah, 91.
Yeah.
91, 92.
Yes.
So...
but Harrison Ford and Dennis Quaid also.
I don't think Harrison Ford had the legs to pull off Lucy.
I don't think Dennis Quaid did either, but even so,
I think that's why Quaid could pull that off.
I think that's why they auditioned for Jack, because they knew.
Well, that makes sense.
Now, Patrick Swayze probably had the legs to play Lucy.
We know he did. We saw it.
We've seen his legs. Oh, and also, Michael Rispoli, he had like a few other roles after this movie, and he went from a Joey Jr. to Joey Joseph. He did a Big Joe. I mean,
he was typecast.
His name
as
is not Joe, but he played so many Joeys. But I think it's because he's got that Joey bag of donuts thing going on for him.
Here we go again.
It's my thing. But no Alice Drummond.
Oddly enough, this is a second film without Alice.
It's so sad.
I feel like we're pulling away from our mascot.
Yes. One thing I do feel, it's not just Lucy's loneliness either, because Jack is lonely. Jack is in a career that he doesn't want because he feels he doesn't want to disappoint his father. And he really wants to do his woodwork and to create the beautiful pieces of furniture that he can do. And I think Lucy gives him, whether she realizes it or not, but gives him that strength to go and sit with his dad. And his dad was just
is
like,
fantastic.
oh my God. He was like, why didn't you tell me sooner? I could have taken your mom on a cruise, you know?
But not in a way that was mean. He was saying it
No.
as a caring father.
Yeah,
And I
like,
just love this family so much. I'm actually a little angry I didn't have them.
I know. Yeah, he's not upset. He's not even disappointed. He's like, I just wish you told me sooner.
There's a feeling of loneliness about a lot of the characters in the film. Joey,
Yes.
lonely.
He is lonely.
And people are trying to seek to fill that loneliness with what they can. And for Joey, it's just whoever, whenever, whatever. And mainly it's just his own delusions.
Oh, yeah.
He fills them with what he thinks will help him. And later, I think he comes to some terms.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the fact that even though he's really rude to Lucy about saying that he had sex with her,
Yeah, well, saying he had sex with her. I mean, he's just...
that they're dating.
Yeah.
I think that later they actually come to a friendship, which is
Yes.
really nice to see as a small part of this movie.
I like black underwears.
Right? But Jack is lonely. Jack is lonely for different reasons. Everyone is lonely for different reasons in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Saul is lonely.
Saul is lonely.
Saul is lonely, and he sees that in Lucy, which is what draws him to say the things he does to her, to try to get her to maintain
Oh, yeah.
that close relationship with this family, even though he knows the truth. Peter is lonely.
Peter is lonely. He lives in this big apartment. He has a house in Italy in France. And he's just,
But he's lonely, and he's okay with it.
Yeah, because what he I've slept around with every girlfriend I've had. I've slept around behind their backs, and he has no
Emotional depth.
none.
Right.
But I have to say though, when he wakes up in the hospital bed and Saul's talking to him, I do think that is his cutest. In the whole entire movie, he's just dumbfounded, and for some reason, that look on his face,
The wide eyes, yes.
yes, that's
Yes.
where I feel like he is actually.
He has beautiful eyes.
He does have beautiful eyes. I will give him that. I'm not a huge.
But yeah, the movie is marked by loneliness, internalized, externalized, and you see that throughout the film through different characters. Mm-hmm. It's mostly held by Lucy, who kind of portrays the singular lonely person who, and I've been that person when she was sitting at the Christmas party with the family.
Yes.
And they're handing out presents and you're watching them. I've been the one sitting there watching presents be handed out. Mm-hmm. And she gets one.
You're like,
I can tell you from vast experience, because I have been lonely many times in my life through my own actions or others, to get that present.
oh my God, it's the best thing in the world.
That's why she didn't open it. She just held on to it.
Oh yeah.
And she's just absorbed the family bantering with each other as they open gifts. Mm-hmm. That's the part that makes me cry.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there too. And it is painful to just be that outsider watching. And then to finally have like the window opened a little bit and you get to be a part of it for like a little tiny bit. And yeah, no, the movie has so much depth in it that I think that maybe it's underappreciated when it comes to, because it's a romantic comedy and it is lighthearted, but it does have
An emotional depth.
such an emotional depth.
I keep saying that, but that's true.
But really, there's no other real explanation for it.
But the good thing about loneliness is that it doesn't last.
No.
It may seem like it's always going to last. And you can hold that present to you because you get that feeling. But eventually, one day, you're going to get a chance to hand that present to someone.
True. That is true.
I felt like her many times in my life, but I've always come to a point where I'm the one handing the present. There's something really great about being that person.
Oh, gosh, yes.
When we have holidays, when we have Christmas, my favorite time is sitting down after everyone's finally woken up, because I've never had kids like our kids who will take forever to get up.
Well, in their defense, they're adults now, and even
No, I mean, even when they were kids, like
was-
Rose would sleep forever.
Well, yeah, my kids, they were never one of the ones that you got up at 5 a.m.
I was up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, you're still up at 3 a.m.
I know, I'm crazy that way.
I mean, my kids even when they were really little, they never got up. I have to go wake them up.
Yeah.
You know, be like, come on, guys, Santa's here. And then they would like, oh, okay. And usually, I think they knew that we weren't going to open up gifts until at least 7 a.m. anyway. So I think they were just like, well, we're just going to sleep.
So my favorite time is that time.
Yeah.
Not because of the presents that are being handed out, but because I get to watch. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching other families do it while I sit there. I'm watching my family
Yeah.
open presents or just talking or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get to watch that.
Yeah.
And that is that sadness that comes back to you in like the best way possible.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because that loneliness, even though you still hold it, it becomes so much more than just that one feeling, because now you have this family that you share it with.
Yeah.
Because everyone's alone in one way or another. We all have loneliness.
Yeah.
But when you're in a unit, a chosen family, that makes it special. That makes your loneliness a part of their loneliness, and it makes you not alone at all. It's just a fun shared identity, I guess.
Yes. No, I get that.
I just rambled a lot.
That's okay.
So.
That makes up for my rambling of enemy mine. So
Early in the film, she goes to her apartment. We see where she lives.
yes.
And that's where you meet Joey and the landlord, because she drops a
Christmas tree and it hits his window and breaks it.
Right. And he's really nice about it. So you can tell that people like Lucy, but she's in her apartment and it's a single bedroom, small with a cat. And that's good. That's fine too.
Yeah.
But it's very lonely for her. She gets a call to come to the hospital, back to the hospital. And she's giving milk. This is something I had a note on because I was like, I've noticed it before, but I never really said anything about it. She pours milk for the cat. Bad thing to do, by the way.
Yeah, don't give cats milk.
And the cat hasn't come over yet, but it's the cat's dish with the food on one side and the water on the other, which she pours milk into the water bowl. And after the call, she takes an Oreo out and dips it into the milk. Into the milk in the cat bowl. And I'm like, that's... There's no milk worth that for me.
No, not even with an Oreo.
I love my cats, but I don't love them enough to do that.
I've seen what their bowls look like.
Yes,
they've got brand new bowls and they're already disgusting. No. And they don't even eat wet food. They're just nasty. Yeah. The scene, and I think it was in the beginning when they're like panning through the city and there's the paper boy. I think it's not in the city. It's actually... I can't remember where the scene is now. But there's a paper boy, and he falls off his bike.
Oh, when they're walking back?
Yeah.
Okay.
He broke his wrist in real life.
That was for real.
That was for real. He fell off his bike.
That was not a stunt person?
Was not a stunt person.
Kid.
I know. And one of my... Something I miss, and that's only because we grew up with it, was Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's was on the TV.
It's true.
I miss Dick.
I think we miss him more because he was supposed to be immortal. Remember that time?
Oh, God, yeah. He was immortal. He was like the forever boy. And I'm not, nothing against Seacrest, but he's no Dick Clark. I'm sorry. It's just not a thing.
Yes, this man has no dick.
We went right back to that. Okay. So when we were watching the movie, Beth had asked me to look up who the composer was because the music just sounded really familiar. And the composer was Randy Edelman. Randy has done amazing things. He's done things, and then he's done amazing things as a composer. He did the music for Last of the Mohicans, which is
that makes sense. Yes.
He also did the music for, again, two of my favorite things, and one of them I have to rewatch, even though it's only, I think, one season. But the movie, Osmosis Jones. I love Osmosis Jones.
It was a good movie. Yes.
And, oh, he also did for My Cousin Vinny. I forgot about that, too.
Seriously?
Yes, he did the music for My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Oh, my God.
I know. There's like one season of that, right? I don't think there's more than that. That's
yeah, I think
Bruce
it's just the
Campbell.
one.
That was Bruce Campbell before Bruce Campbell became Bruce Campbell.
True enough. It was a very thoughtful, witty,
Yeah.
and that's what killed it.
I think it's what I think it was
You
before its
can't be
time.
thoughtful and witty and have a Western-ish.
I think again, it was not. It was done in the wrong time. I think definitely.
It was an excellent show. If you ever have the chance, you should try to find that show and watch the only season of it.
Well, and it's funny because then Bruce Campbell goes on to do Autolycus in both Hercules and Xena. That character of Autolycus is very similar to Briscoe County. He is got that same wit. And he's not in every episode, but when he's on screen, it's like, oh, it's Autolycus is here. Oh, it's going to be an Autolycus episode because he's going to have that nice banter and that wit about him. He was definitely one of my favorite characters on that show.
The one thing you can count on about Bruce Campbell is for him to play Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, but even then, he still wasn't fully embracing the Bruceness of himself. It was really, it's. I feel like in later years, he's become more Bruce Campbell. And that sounds so ridiculous, but it's like he's still trying to grasp for the youth that he had.
Bruce Campbell is a feeling.
He really is a feeling. He's an emotion. He's a feeling. He's kind of a way of life. But also, you kind of want to hold his head underwater till the bubbles stop.
That's also an emotion.
Yes, there you go. But, yeah. So, do you want your quiz?
Sure, we can try it.
Okay. Because I know you've seen this movie a lot. I'm going to start easy. There's not many questions, just a few. But I'm going to start easy. What's Lucy's hot dog order?
Just mustard.
With a?
Oh, you're with a Coke?
Yep, with a Coke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought you were asking what else.
Oh,
on
no.
hot dog.
Just mustard. She says that, just mustard.
Okay.
Where does Lucy want... This one's really easy.
Florence.
Though. Yep. That's
Italy.
where she wants to go is to Florence,
Italy.
Italy. Okay, we're going to get a little bit harder. What's Lucy's middle name?
Oh, God. I don't know that one. I know you're trying to help me, but that's not going to help me. Now you have me thinking of 5 different things. That's not helping me at all.
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
I was humming Eleanor Rigby.
I know what you were humming, but my mind goes to a million different places because I don't have direct contact with my mind. I am autistic.
Okay. What's Peter's apartment number?
Is it one? No, it's not 111.
Nope.
What was his number?
Because they say it like 3 or 4 times.
316?
Nope. 57G.
57G.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
When Joey Jr. is trapped in the closet, what does he try
Shoe.
on? Shoes. And here's the hardest one. Finish this line. You know what, Jack? I've had a very lousy Christmas, and you just managed to kill my New Year's. If you come by for Easter, you can...
Burn down my apartment.
Exactly. I knew you'd know that one. That was my quiz.
It's a good line.
That was my quiz.
Yeah, I failed out on a few because those are not things I
yeah, if it wasn't for the
notice.
fact that they said it like so many times, I would not have even
The
thought about
Eleanor
part.
thing kind of throws me off because I always forget that.
Yeah, they do say her name a couple times fully. So,
Right.
Do I know her last name? No, because I didn't write it down.
I know her last name. Moderates.
And I know her middle name.
Lucy Eleanor Moderates.
Moderates. Okay. Why did they move to Chicago? Her and her dad.
Her father was dying. They had to go to a
Research.
teaching hospital.
Yeah, like a
research hospital. Yes.
Yeah. So she's not a natural born Chicagoan.
No, they
I don't know how you say
traveled.
that.
They traveled a lot. I think when her mother died, her father's natural wanderlust because
Her
Lucy's mother
bought her father.
bought her father a globe.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already interested in maps and in visiting places.
Okay, yeah.
And part of Lucy's childhood after the mother died was plotting out how to get to those places and doing what was in his means to get there. So they visited more mundane places closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did a lot of wanderlust.
So that's another point of where I relate to Lucy. My grandmother traveled a lot, and she had this big almanac, and she would show me how to read the map and show me the places that she had been across the eastern seaboard and all the way to the Mississippi. She loved her life. When she was younger, my great-grandparents were, they traveled with carnivals. Yes, I am from Carney folk. And she just showed me this love of maps. And even now to this day, I can sit and look at a map for hours. And if we go anywhere, I'm obsessed. I'm the one in charge of the map. And I'm like, no, this is the better route. And da-da-da-da. Because this is just, my brain just goes straight towards everything Nana taught me. Because it's just, I love maps. And I love the written paper maps are such a dead art form now that we have Google,
But I think it makes the maps that you do get more special.
Oh, definitely.
That's why I typically will get you maps.
Oh yeah,
For gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I do love my maps. But it's funny because I'm pretty sure if we handed one of our kids a paper map, they would be like, "Okay,
I have a phone. What's
yeah.
wrong with you?"
Yeah, they wouldn't really know how to use it to find anywhere. But I think because we do have those directional geo satellite blah 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 blahs and our phones, those little supercomputers right there in our butt pocket.
To me are more special because they're just not around anymore.
I would really like a giant like U.S. almanac. That would be really cool because I would like to. I don't know. It would remind me of my grandmother.
Need a big ass.
Just a big ass atlas. I do like globes too. I have those.
So she gave him a globe with a light in it.
Yes.
Probably what they could afford.
Yes.
Because as we can tell, Lucy has not ever been well-to-do.
No, you could tell by those shoes with the socks on.
And her family has never been well-to-do, but they had each other and they had love. One of the things that I want to point out is that later in the movie, and it's something I noticed that I never really noticed before, but I wrote this down because that's how you take notes, or at least that's how I did. Jack comes over and he hands Lucy a snow globe. And I can tell you right there, that is when she fell in love with him.
Oh, yes.
He hands her a snow globe of Florence, Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And when he backs up from giving that to her, if you look off on his left shoulder, the globe is right behind him. Yes, lit up.
It was. That was going to say, because the globe is in her apartment. But also, Lucy's mom gave her dad the globe with the light in it. Right. And it was like her way of saying, this is me giving you the world that I really can't give you.
It's saying I love you.
Yes, and he wanted to see the world, and this was her giving him the world. The one thing Lucy wanted was to go to Florence. And him giving her that little snow globe with Florence in it was him giving her the thing that she always wanted.
Right.
I can't give it to you the way you deserve to have it, but this is what I can give you.
With the globe being her father and her mother.
It was almost like
their love looking over his shoulder.
Oh, yeah, definitely a blessing right there. And then she asks him that question, which really just breaks everything. Just give me a reason why I shouldn't marry Peter.
And if he did, that would have been... I understand this. So, we have a past.
Yes.
We knew each other in California. I'm not going to get into the whole, situation and stuff, but you and I were friends.
Mm-hmm. And I was with somebody else.
And you were with a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
We were all friends.
Yeah, we were all friends.
And you were like my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And... when you left, when you moved away, that broke me.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I would ever tell you. That silence that
Oh, yeah.
I didn't stop you. I didn't try to stop you. Not stop you. I didn't try to stop you. I didn't try to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because to do so would cheapen who you are to me by doing it, as if you were a possession to be won.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. And I feel like that's what he was doing with her.
He was.
And it would ruin things if he had said no, or this is the reason why he wasn't going to say anything bad about his brother.
Because she had to come up with her reason.
Yeah.
He already knew he loved her.
Yes.
He gave her the globe.
Yes.
It was her choice to make.
Yes.
And he was saying, that's not my place to give that to you.
No.
Who wouldn't love him for doing that?
Oh, God, yeah. That was adorable. I mean, it was just, again, he gave her the same gift in a way that her mother gave her father. So, yeah, and obviously her father never remarried, so there was definitely that, that true love type of a thing there. And again, he wasn't going to say anything bad about Peter because he didn't want her to think less of him too. Because if he was to say something bad about Peter, whether it was true or not, which we find out later on about Peter when he's awake, again, he was a putz.
and Saul tells him straight out, you're a putz. I love you. You're great. You've got all these things. You're pretty.
Mm-hmm.
He says all the things. And then he says, but you're a putz.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows
what
that
he's
Lucy is such a great person.
Oh, yeah. And he knows what his godson is about. He knows what this kid's like.
Right. And that he's not seeing Lucy for who she is is kind of driving Saul mad. But what I liked about the Peter thing is when Peter's awake and when he's coming to this realization that he should love Lucy. Not that he does love Lucy, but that he should.
Yeah, that line that he says, "My family loves you, so should
I might as well.
I might as well." It's like, well, gee, thanks, guy.
Super romantic.
Oh, thank you.
When he's telling Jack that he knocked the squirrels out of the nest.
So one of the things the family shares with her about Jack Peter when he was younger was that he rescued squirrels. And then she mentions it later on when he comes out of his coma.
Because there was a newspaper clipping?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that he had rescued these baby squirrels. And then he admits to Jack that he threw a rock at the nest and knocked the baby squirrels out and then rescued. So again, he went after a mugger, but it turned out he played like he had a hamstring, a pulled hamstring. So it's like he does things to make himself look good.
Not in a malicious
No,
way, but in a
definitely like either going to get the sympathy or going to get the praise. Either way, he's going to get the attention.
He's the golden boy.
He is.
Without putting in a lot of effort.
Yes. And again, because he went off and did his own thing, I think that's why Jack felt the need to stay with the family business, because it was Callahan and Sons.
And Callahan and
Son. And without him, it would just be Callahan. So
I like something that Jack said to Peter while Peter was actually unconscious or sleeping.
Yes.
And they're playing cards. He's playing cards against his unconscious brother.
Yes.
And winning, by the way.
And winning.
He says, I've never been jealous of you. I've always been proud of you, the things that you've done, things you've accomplished. But now I am.
Oh, yeah.
It's because Jack is conscious and he's falling in love with Lucy.
Yeah.
And he realizes that even though he's in love with her, he can't actively do anything.
Yeah.
He can't, because this is his family. He loves them. He respects her enough to not try to get in the way of making something work for herself.
Yes.
Again, these ties between things doesn't make Jack a better person for having done so. It just makes him stand up to a moral code that he already had.
Yeah.
He's not trying to prove anything by doing it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I would say, based on personal experience, that's how he showed his love.
Oh, yeah.
That's his love language, is to do the right thing even if it hurts him.
Yeah, because it's once again that self-destructive Dean Winchester, I will save your ass because mine isn't worth it kind of mentality.
Kind of, but really you're showing your worth, your belief in your worth by showing someone else how much you care about them.
Yeah.
If your love isn't worth anything to you, then giving it to someone else doesn't mean much.
True. Yeah.
I can hate a lot of things about myself, but I have an immense amount of love, and I hold that. I have a love for my mother, my father, my siblings. I have a great amount of love for the people in my life. I cannot have that without having a love for myself. You can hate yourself, but you have to be able to love yourself too.
Oh, yeah.
In order to share love. So Jack is not, I think, downplaying.
No, I just think that he doesn't have any. He's willing to sacrifice his comfort. Not that he's saying doesn't feel like he's worth it, because again, nobody hates himself as much as Dean Winchester, but he has, it's his comfort, his place in the world to him is not as important as making sure his dad gets to keep his company, that his brother gets to be with this woman. He's just putting himself in this position where I can't break their hearts. It's okay for me to break mine.
Right.
Yeah.
We go through this point where Peter wakes up and you know that the wedding is imminent. Jack makes this, not a last-ditch effort. He makes a final, not a plea, but that final offering. He wants to give Lucy his heart, and he does that in the form of the snow globe.
Yes.
And then he walks away because that's all he can do, and that's all he's going to do, because even though he loves her, you have to be willing to let them go. It is their choice now.
Yes.
On whether they want to reciprocate that. But the wedding's imminent.
The wedding. The wedding has one of my favorite lines in it.
So they're in the hospital because Peter's still in the hospital. And they're standing there. And he asks, do I look okay? Do I look silly in this or whatever? And then Jack gives him a snide remark. And then Lucy shows up. What's the line that...
Oh, it doesn't come yet.
Oh, okay. It comes later?
It comes after she objects.
Okay. They go up to the front and to the minister or the priest or whatever that is. I'm assuming it's a priest.
Yeah, they're in the hospital chapel.
Yeah, so the non-denominational
Yeah.
guy, officiant. There we go.
Which, Saul is Jewish and the families, whatever they are. And so, yeah, it's a
Catholic,
lot.
I believe.
Yeah, it's
right?
a lot of, I think so. But
because they have the Godfather thing, and
well,
Saul was brought in as a Godfather despite him not being Catholic.
I wasn't Catholic, and so, but I still had godparents. So
Yeah,
I don't
just
know.
saying that. I think that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
It's unsaid.
Yeah.
The service is starting. Lucy comes in. She has to take off her coat, and they have to start over.
Yeah.
And
Her dad is still in because that's her dad's coat, so he's at the wedding too.
Right. She walks down the aisle and comes up to the front, and they start
Yes.
the wedding, but it's shortly interrupted.
The officiant. I never say that
Officiant.
right. The officiant. He barely gets 2 words out of his mouth, and she's like, "I object." And
He's like, "I'm not to that part yet."
And then Bill Pullman's like, I also object. And that's where the big tear moment of the whole movie comes into play, the biggest one, because
I bawl. I cry so hard.
She starts to tell them that she lied. And she tells them the whole truth. But my favorite line is she goes, "Ox, I'm in love with your son." And Peter Boyle goes, "I know." And she goes, "Not that one." And she points over to.
And then she points around him.
Yeah, she goes, "That one." To Jack. And that is my favorite, because the way she's just, "Not that
But
one.
the look on
that
Jack's
one."
face.
Yeah, because he's so happy.
He is. He's very happy that she made her choice.
Yes. And then he let her make that choice. It wasn't, not let,
Not
but you know
let,
what I mean? But
but
he allowed that to happen without making her, without influencing her. So when I say let, it's not so much, a control. It's much of a letting go of that
passive.
control. Yeah, he let go of the control so she would make that choice. She does. She talks about her loneliness, and she talks about losing everything in her family, and how that family, the Callahans, became another family
How
for
she
her.
loved them.
Oh yeah, and so it
She
wasn't.
said, "I love you," and
he goes, "Me?"
And the father goes, "Me?"
Yeah.
And she's like,
Peter
"No, all
Boyle.
of you, all of you."
I love Peter Boyle.
But you can see like Mary,
Mary,
the sister,
she
she's
was-
crying.
Oh yeah,
They're all crying
They're heartbroken, and
except
then
for
Bill Pullman. Yeah.
no, except for the
Oh,
grandmother.
Saul. Oh yeah, Elise.
Elise
Yes.
is taking photos.
She's like, "All right, how's your heart, Elise?" And she's taking photos with the
She's
old
like,
flash
I'm
camera.
good. I'm fine.
I think my Nana had that camera too. But yeah, it's an emotional speech that she gives, and it's, she bears her heart, and then she leaves and she goes back home, and and that's when Joey Jr.
Well, she leaves under the cover of Ashley showing
Oh
up
yes, Ashley.
to say she
Bacon.
objects, and then a guy comes in immediately behind her and says, "I object." And
They go,
the
"Well,
minister says, take a number, stand in line.
Stand in line. And then somebody's like, "Who's that guy?" And Peter goes, "That's her husband. He proposed to a married woman who then said no, but then turned around and said yes."
And she has the gall to be upset.
And she has the gall to be upset about this whole thing. Bitch. You're not supposed to like Ashley. If you like Ashley, then you're
not.
Yeah.
But it's a lot like in Twister. Mm-hmm. You may not. Well, actually, it's not, because in Twister, you don't like her, the character that's portraying that kind of archetype.
Yeah.
But you learn that she is not the bad guy.
Yeah.
Now in this,
She's the bad
Ashley's
guy.
just a stereotypical bad guy.
Rich bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't care about anything, her husband or Peter. And Peter's probably going to make the wrong choice there too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
This isn't Peter's story.
No, it's not. But yes, then so Lucy leaves and she goes back to her apartment, and you see her just kind of putting stuff away and just putzing about with her kitty cat. And beautiful cat, beautiful calico.
Looking sad.
Looking sad. And Joey shows up, Joey Jr.
Knocks on the door.
And apparently the woman who he was seeing on the third floor broke his heart.
And he starts crying, and
starts
she
to cry.
hugs him, and she brings him inside.
And says, "Maybe we'll try on some shoes later." And he's like, "Okay."
Because he's into that, and that's fine. I think it's actually kind of adorable that he has this, that the reason why he struts around so much is he has that feminine side.
And he's a very, he's insecure.
Yes.
So that false bravado with Joey is definitely a sign of insecurity. Oh my God, though, when Bill Pullman is doing the whole lean thing, I saw him and he's showing her the lean. It's not, that moment is so intense, but yet at the same time, when Joey comes over and he's like, he was doing the lean, and he's like, "See,
are you okay?"
This is because she didn't know what it meant when someone leans into you like that. So when Joey said that, Jack,
he says, "Are you okay?" And she
Yeah.
goes, "I'm fine." He goes, "Yeah, well, it looked like he's doing the lean."
and Jack looks like, "See, like all vindicated,
Vindication. Little Holtz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Ah, Andre Bauer.
Rest in peace.
Yes. So, yeah, it goes then to her at the toll booth back in her job.
She's taking the tokens. Her friend...
It's her last day.
Right. Her friend leaves off of her shift, hugs her. That's where you get the knowledge that this is her last day.
Yes, because you really don't know that until that part, right?
Right.
And so she's sitting there just taking tokens.
She's not looking. She's
not even
just
looking. Just
every
kind
time
of
she hears it, she pulls the token out of the
little brass cup.
Right, out of the brass insert.
Yeah.
In the table there.
And a little diamond ring appears. And she looks at it, and then she looks up, and there are the Callahans with
all of
Jack.
them. The entire family.
Except
for Peter. And Jack standing there.
But Jack has this. See, this is where you know Bill Pullman can play a serial killer. Because even though he's smiling, it's the look in his eyes as he's looking into her booth. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if he wants to fuck me or fucking murder me. And that would be a look I would be like, I am unsure of which direction this is going, but I might be on board. Okay.
We're gonna have some light choking.
Yeah, something's gonna happen, and
You're not my
someone's leaving with a
supervisor.
red ass, and I'm not saying who.
Calm down, Peggy.
Back off.
That's funny. So, yeah, he drops the ring in, and she looks up, and just the look in her eyes. Mm-hmm. Sandra Bullock can play a lot of emotion through her eyes.
God, and she's got such beautiful eyes.
He says, Lucy, well, I'm paraphrasing. I got something to ask you. I got a
Yes.
question to ask you.
And he goes, "Can I come in there?" She goes, "You're gonna need a token."
So he puts a token in.
Yep.
That's smooth. He had a token
Yeah.
ready.
Do they even use tokens anymore? I think it's all done with cards now.
Yeah, it's all cards, I
Oh
think.
God.
I mean, I haven't been in Chicago in years.
No, but I mean, like even
And when
most-
I did, it was tokens anyway.
I mean, I've never gone to Chicago's underground, so I was only there at the train station. I don't know. I haven't been in a subway station in years, so
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all cards now.
probably.
He comes around and he asks her, but he doesn't get on his knees. He's in her
No,
face.
but his mom was like, "Go get on your knees, be
I
a
know.
gentleman, make it
But he's-
romantic."
He gets in her face. I mean, lovingly.
Yeah, but he don't get in her face. He does the lean.
He does the lean, and they kiss, which is sweet
Yes.
and awkward.
Because we're watching it as, we're watching a movie and people kiss in movies. But the family are watching it like a bunch of fish in a fish tank.
They're staring right at the glass, and they
Like they're in an aquarium.
break apart a little bit. Then they kiss again, and then you're like, oh, this is going to keep going.
This is weird.
And then you have the voiceover in which Sandra or Lucy, again, I'm conflating.
Yes.
Lucy talks about how he took her to Florence
Yes.
while they're in the just married caboose
Yes.
at the back of
At
the
the
train.
back of the train.
And she's
In her
wearing
wedding-
a wedding dress,
yes.
and he's wearing a suit, and it says just married on the back, which is very sweet.
And that he took her to Florence for her honeymoon so she could get her stamp on her passport.
Right. And that's how you know Lucy's going to be okay, that she's not alone in this anymore.
Oh, yeah. And she's definitely a part of the Callahan clan, and they aren't going to let go of her anytime soon.
She's got a full family who loves her and loved her before she got married. And she says that Peter once asked her when it was that she knew that she loved Jack. And she said, it was while you were sleeping.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's the end.
And that is the end. So, if you want to watch this movie and probably bawl in the right places like we did, even though, again, it has its funny moments, like, I'm sorry, if you see a sidewalk that's made of ice, you'll walk on the snow. But they had to have that romantic slip and slide
Well, and the butt tear.
and the butt tear. Yeah, I had to look that up. It was not... that actually was part of the movie. I thought I would have been funnier if it had been improvised and it happened and they kept it. That would have been funnier. But no, Bill Pullman's or Jack's pants ripped.
But you have to admit, Jack played it off like a cat would play off a fall.
Oh, definitely.
Because he's like, oh, yeah.
My pants
I'm,
ripped.
I'm still cool.
Yeah, because he's
know?
like, I don't know if that was my pants or my muscles.
Yeah, and he just kind of played it off and went on his way. But he is a goofball, but he
Yes.
has his cool moments. How do we feel about the feminist take in this movie? Is there a chance that the Castellini test can be passed?
So if I look at it without the Castellini test, if I say I didn't know that existed,
Right.
I would say, see, this is hard because the whole movie is about a relationship. I mean, so that's going to be a hard one because when the whole movie is about relationships, then it's really going to be hard to have a conversation that is not about relationships. But
It's not a requirement of the Castellini test.
But I feel Lucy's independence, she's lonely, yes, and she would have continued to survive without Peter or Jack. She would have been lonely, but I feel like she would have still survived. So, would I call it feminist? I think I could, because the main character, the movie wouldn't be without her. But
So, the first step is, are there two female characters
that are named.
that are named?
There's a lot.
So we have that have lines.
Yes.
That have dialogue. More than 5 lines of dialogue, correct? And we have that.
Yes.
Because we have Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have
the mom and the grandmother.
Mom and the grandmother who have
Mary,
more than 5 lines.
Her friend, yeah.
Well, Mary and her friend only have a couple of lines.
No, I meant Lucy's friend.
Oh.
The toll booth
yes,
girl.
That's true.
Then and Wanda, the nurse. Wanda.
Right? Mm-hmm. She's not named, though.
Yeah. Nurse Wanda.
Is she... Yeah, you see it on her tag, but...
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Because when I was
she's not actually addressed as like
true.
A character. She's just used as a...
That's true.
A foil.
Sorry, sometimes what I read and what I see in the movies kind of overlaps.
So the second step are that those two characters must have a conversation, but not necessarily with the other woman. Either not about their partner or with their partner, future or current, and not about their relationship.
Okay.
That is harder to do in a film that's essentially about relationships.
Yeah. So Lucy does talk with Jack about other things. When he's walking her home, they have a whole long conversation and they don't talk about relationships. They don't even talk about Peter.
But it's not about Lucy because we know Lucy passed this one.
Yes.
Where's the other one?
That's the truth. None of them have any conversations with anybody else. Because it's Lucy-centric. She's the main character.
Okay. I'm going to say that it still may pass because the mother talks quite a bit, and it's not about her relationship.
That's true. That is true. She talks about her kids.
Talks about her kids. She talks about Peter.
Yeah, that is true. So, yeah, no, that passes then.
So we can say that passes. Yeah. I know we're reaching on this second step, but we're going to reach a little bit because, well, nothing's fair in life.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, at least one of the women has to be integral to the plot, meaning that if she were written out of the film, it could not reach the same ending.
And that's Lucy.
That is Lucy. It cannot happen without Lucy.
It could not happen without Lucy.
And that's the only character I can see that being the issue with.
I'm sorry.
And that's all it takes.
That movie would not be the same without Grandma Elise.
That is true. It wouldn't be the same, but it would have the same ending.
Or Elsie. We keep saying Elise, but it's
I know.
Elsie.
I've said different names for her, but I think she'll be okay with it. We'll just offer her some more wine.
That's like last episode when we talked about the BTS.
When it was the
BTA.
We know it was BTA.
We know it was BTA. Sorry, guys.
For whatever reason, one of us said BTS. I'm pretty sure it was Michelle.
Yes, it was, because I had Buffy the Vampire Slayer in my head, and I know that's not BTS, but it was close enough.
And that, of course, prompted me to continue saying BTS because I'm very impressionable.
Yes. And so, same thing with...
No, it's my own fault for not catching that
It's
at all.
Elsie, not Elise. But Grandma Elsie, I think the whole movie would have been nothing without her.
So it's true. I think that she provided something to the movie.
Yes.
But she would not change the plot if she were not there.
But Lucy changes everything.
Lucy changes everything. So I think this film, a rom-com, which
is rare.
Yeah, I think it passes a test for feminism.
Yes.
In the movie.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a feminist vehicle, but I definitely think that there's a huge, strong feminist.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Because if we take feminism not as women's empowerment, but as an equity.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She doesn't land a husband. She finds a partner, someone who's going to be there with her, who respects her enough to allow for choice.
That's true. She found her equal.
Right. And he doesn't see himself above her. He sees himself as an equal to her.
Because she gets upset with him at one point, and when she thinks that so she's misreading what he's saying to her. And he is basically alluding to the fact that she's not what he expected his brother to be with.
This is right after the lean.
Yes. And it's not... And he doesn't mean it, and I know he's not intending to mean it in a bad way. He's just trying to wrap his mind around his own feelings towards her, and how did she end up with his brother, who he knows is an arrogant booger, you know?
Right.
And so the fact that she just doesn't fit the mold. And she doesn't see what he's saying in the way it's meant. She sees him thinking she's below his brother's stature, and that, you just think I'm not good enough to be with my brother.
When the reality is he thinks she's everything.
Oh, yeah, and that she's better than what he should be with, that she's definitely above her brother.
And she says that
Or his brother. Yeah. Oh, that's when she says the line, yeah, that you ruined my Christmas, or my Christmas was ruined, and you
the
just,
New Year's
you just
ruined.
killed my ute, and you could burn down my apartment. Yes. Yeah, so definitely that's the thing, is that Lucy has loneliness, but Lucy doesn't have low self-esteem.
True.
She's proud of where she's come from. She's,
she doesn't think less of herself.
No.
She just knows that she doesn't have anyone in her life to share her life with.
Exactly. She knows what she's accomplished. She knows that she had to drop out of college. She knows that she chose to take care of her father. And
would I prefer that they probably go over a bit more of what exactly she went to college for? Because this kind of smacks of when we did Son-in-Law, where they go, she's taking college. But you never find out if she had any passions.
Yeah.
Or if she was actually looking for, a degree in something.
Yeah, it would be nice to see what Lucy was actually going for.
Right.
But, it definitely, she's a strong character. Just as
cryptography, maybe
photography, but
cryptography.
Oh, okay. The ones where they go into the crypts, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. So I just feel like she's definitely a strong feminist character, because she has that independence that I think I would definitely put her, and I would say to a female teenager, whether they're my child or not, go watch this movie, because Lucy, she's something to look at. I mean, it kind of makes me, I really want her hair. Every time I watch anything with Sandra Bullock, I want to cut my bangs, and I want my hair to look like hers. Every time I see anything she does. And I love Lucy's hair.
I know.
It's so cute.
Same here.
That's so
I love
cute.
her hair.
But
so that was while you were sleeping. I hope that you give it a chance and that you watch it with an open heart and really delve into the emotions of Lucy and Jack and her family, and get a sense of the loneliness that pervades, but is not without joy.
Because there's hope. There's always hope. And if you hold on to that hope and never let it go,
you give yourself time to find it.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's all we have is that hope to get through it. And we just never give that up.
You can find it on Disney Plus, Roku channel, and Amazon, which is for rental.
Okay, yes. If you want to get in touch with us, Beth, how can they get in touch with us? And
you just give us a call.
You can call us anytime. No.
So you can find us on Blue Sky and Instagram at OMWFpod. You can also email us at omwfpod@gmail.com. You can ask us questions. Tell us things like what movies you like to see, what music you want to, not hear on here because, copyright.
Yeah, but,
But
what books should we talk about? That will take a little bit, but, hey.
Give us suggestions, because we're always looking for things. Mm-hmm. We have so many things we want to talk about.
Oh,
it's endless.
Lord. Our list of movies just gets bigger and bigger by the day.
We're always looking for great ideas for movies we may not have given the best chance.
Yeah.
Or even movies we've never seen before. That would be pretty cool to get suggestions for that.
Until next time.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join...
I object.
Oh, I didn't get to that part yet.
I would have to object too.
What about you?
I'm thinking.
What the hell is going on?